After I released a very positive video on the anime series and observation log of my fiance who calls us the villainess, and including my tier list, I had a lot of people in the comments in the chat that were bringing up another show where they had a similar situation, where they came into a show expecting nothing, but then after watching it really, really enjoyed it, and that is always a catch. And I went out and I watched the first 6 episodes after hearing so many praising reviews of it and comments about it, and while I'm not to the levels of something like Observation Log, I still really enjoy that show. It's not like as good as that, but I do see the appeal to it. I think a lot of people that were in the comments and stuff were kind of echoing the same thing. They really like the main character, and I could definitely see that. Mimi, the main character of this series, is super, super charming, and I love her story. I really do kind of like everything centered around her. It's just unfortunately, everything else outside of her, I just don't really enjoy, which I guess is the point, right? The series is kind of following her. It's good that her story is good. It's just I'm not really getting the chemistry of anybody else outside of her. But yeah, after watching the 6 episodes, this is my thoughts on it. First things first, what is it about? It follows Mimi, who is set to take over her family name. Her family is a family of martial artists, and unfortunately, they've never had a boy. And so they chose like the strongest of all the daughters, which ended up being Mimi. And Mimi, she took this seriously. She trained herself day and night. She was very, very strong. Holy crap, very, very strong. Kind of a genius in the martial arts. But one day, finally, after she's a teenager, Mom pops out a boy. Mom finally pops out a boy. The father comes busting in the room. Oh, I'm so happy. We finally have an heir to the family. Oh, sorry, Mimi. All the sisters beat the crap out of him for that. All the sisters just beat the crap out of him. How insensitive of you. But Mimi likes this. Mimi's super overjoyed by this. She's loves her little brother. She's happy that finally, she can kind of set this aside. She can finally go out and find a man. I mean, the problem that Mimi's been facing is that, as she's grown up, everybody sees her as like a tomboy. Like she's super strong. Like any guys that kind of come to her aren't attracted to her. They just want the family name. So now she can finally find herself a man. Well, she ain't going to find it in the current kingdom. Everybody knows her. So she decides to go and stay with her friend in a neighboring kingdom. And when she's there, right off the bat, she does find herself a man. She finds herself the prince of the kingdom. What happens is that she goes to this ball with her friend Ida. Now, Ida is set to marry the crown prince. And while they're there, eventually they run into the crown prince. The crown prince, Renato, immediately locks on to Mimi, rushes up to her, grabs her by the arm, and says, Ida, which is her friend, Ida, I'm breaking up my engagement with you. You've been bullying this other girl. How dare you? A very villainous type of story setting here, but stick with me. I'm breaking up with you. And Mimi's like, Your Highness, I think you need to get glasses. You don't even know what your fiance looks like. I'm not your fiance. It's Ida over there. To which he profusely apologizes. This ends up being a misunderstanding because what's going on here is Renato, the crown prince, knows that his brother Placido, it looks like Placebo. His name literally looks like Placebo. I wanted to write Placebo, but Cheeto sounds even funnier. His brother Cheeto is madly in love with the one that he's engaged with, and so he was trying to break off the engagement somehow in some way so that the two of them can get together. And so it's this cute little thing that he's just trying his desperate, just to get them together. And so Mimi sees this and is like, oh, he's such a nice person and everything. But with the conversation between Mimi and this crown prince, Renato, they make a connection. And it's really around, again, Mimi seeing how caring he is. At the same time, Renato being very comfortable with Mimi. Because Mimi being from the countryside, she doesn't really know like the usual social restrictions that you would have talking to a prince, your etiquettes and whatnot. She's very unrefined in that regard. So she's very kind of forward, very goofy. Because of her experience with her brother and kind of seeing Renato as sort of her brother, she's very kind of fun and inviting to him. Even giving the prince some advice that she's given her brother, which is like, how to go to sleep and everything, counting the sheeps or whatever. And this kind of helps Renato finally get a lot of rest that he's never had because he's always overworking himself. And after this whole situation where Mimi gets kidnapped and she beats up all the people that kidnapped her, Renato finally confesses his love for Mimi and says that he wants to wed her. And so she becomes the crown princess of the kingdom. Following this, we get her, meeting the royal family, seeing all of her things in her life changing. She ends up going back home to tell her family what the hell happened, which is a big shock to her father. And that's pretty much the gist of the story so far. Again, my thoughts on the show. I'm not going to oversell this. I'm going to be honest. I am not going to oversell this. I think the overall story is okay. Honestly, episode 4 to episode 6 was kind of a shrug for me. I like the first 3 episodes overall. Like, I think it's a really solid introduction. Again, I think the whole ballroom scene with Renato going, I'm breaking up my engagement. And she's literally like, Prince, get some glasses. your fiance's over here. Why the hell do you not know your fiance? It was a really goofy little introduction. It's kind of, again, it's another take on the whole like villainous story, the breakup in the ballroom thing, the false accusation crap of bullying and all that kind of stuff, just done in a twisted way, and the fact that Mimi's not the character that's supposed to be in that position. It's a goofy little bit there. Following that, I think I had a few points that I really enjoyed. I think, again, a lot of the enjoyments around Mimi's character. They kind of express early on that she doesn't know how to keep her inner thoughts to herself. She just blurts it out. And they constantly are there pointing it out and going, oh, so that's how you think? And she's like, oh, crap, I didn't mean to say that out loud. She doesn't know how to, like, that blockade there is not there. And it turns into some of the funniest moments. Like, they have this one moment where Raimondo, which is the, assistant to Renato, he's like, I'm okay with the fact that she can't keep her inner thoughts to herself, but now she's going to be the queen, and that's going to cause problems if the queen is just blurting out things that she's thinking. And it's actually a positive thing. Like, they show how it actually turns into a positive thing, because Mimi's confronted by this bully named Rosalia, and the bully is trying to put down Mimi, talk about how she's, from some country. She probably has never seen the ocean and all this stuff, and she stinks and all that kind of stuff. And Mimi's response is, oh, but you smell great. What is that perfume? Oh my gosh, that's so great. Let me smell it. Oh, that's so beautiful. You smell so beautiful. Oh, you know what the beach looks like? Holy crap, I want to go so badly. Can we go to the beach together? Oh, that'd be so great. We could have fun on the beach together. Oh, but you need to help me get a swimsuit. Like, she just keeps blurting out everything that she's thinking of. And it overwhelms Rosalia. Rosalia can't help but feel that positive, infectious nature just completely swarm her. And her response in the end is, well, I'm going to set up a date for us to go to the beach together, and I'm going to get somebody to get you a swimsuit, so you better be ready. It turns this bully into just somebody that adores Mimi. And this kind of happens for everybody. Everybody can't help but kind of get swept up in her positive nature. And I think a lot of it is sort of kind of instilled upon her by her family. Like, her family raised her well. They taught her to protect people around her. Her father instilled upon her, use her ability to protect other people, and she loves to protect other people. That nature of her is what really makes the show great. It's the unfortunate thing is that everything outside of her isn't that interesting. Like, I don't really care so much for Renato. I think he's a fine character. He seems like an okay person. She seemed to like him. He seems to be very, charming. He's very beautiful and whatever. But I don't really care much about him. I kind of felt bad for Ida at first because, again, she felt like, the crown prince, which she's engaged with, didn't like her. And she was obviously in love with this Placido guy as well, but she was trying to fulfill her duty. She's okay. The queen, it was a goofball because the queen didn't seem like she liked Mimi at first, but in actuality, she was kind of hiding the fact that she thought Mimi was really cool because she's a cool fighter and whatnot. The characters around Mimi are okay. They're just not interesting. They're not fun. They're not trying to do anything that's kind of unique with them. Mimi's the only thing about this show that's decently entertaining. And again, she's a great character. I was actually happy that she didn't turn out to be like a violent character, because when I first seen her and she had the the brass knuckles in her hair, I was like, oh no, it's gonna be may I ask for one final thing again, and she's gonna be punching everybody. She's gonna be like obsessed with punching people. But she's actually kind of the opposite. Like, she's actually the opposite. She doesn't seem like she wants to fight. Again, she's a positive flower. Like, she wants to be pretty. She wants to be. They even had this one point where Renato sort of kind of comforts her after the fight with the bandits. He's comforting her, and she's like, well, nobody's ever really done that for me before. Like, she's never been coddled. She'd never been protected. She never had somebody say that they want to protect her. Again, her entire life has always been about becoming a martial artist, leading this family, being strong. Now she finally has somebody that is trying to say, I will be strong for you. And so it kind of catches her off guard. Now, granted, they're kind of indicating that Renato is actually really powerful. It's like, even though Mimi's like this genius martial artist and everything is really strong, they're implying that Renato is like overcoming her. Like, he sneaks up on her, which shocks the father. The father's like, wait, somebody snuck up on you? He's able to kind of hold Mimi still, like she can't overtake him. So it's kind of this little impression where she's lived her entire life being the strongest, but now finally somebody's actually stronger than her. It's kind of goofy in that regard. But again, that all aside, In the end, I think the show's okay. I think the first 3 episodes are really, really solid. It had a lot of funny moments. I think the favorite parts that I have in the show is around Rosalia, the bully, and how Mimi keeps throwing it back on her face. But I think the only thing that's really enjoyable about the show is just Mimi's positive nature. And I think that's enough for most people. I think for a lot of people, a show like this is perfect because you can just turn on. You don't have to think too much about it. It doesn't have like these in-depth stories. There's no like deep plot lines about espionage and the kingdom itself and neighboring kingdoms going to war and who's going to overcome who, what's the economic state of the country or whatever. It's just Mimi being a dork, being overly positive, speaking her mind always, catching people off guard, and people being swept up by her nature. That's really what the series is about. And I think for a lot of people, that's enough. Go on, turn it on. She's cute. She's fun. She's bubbly. And you turn it off. That's your little injection of sugar for the day. That's basically like a sugar show. I think it works perfectly like that. Just not a show where I think it has much legs to it. A show that I think after binge watching 6 episodes, I kind of had enough. I think as a weekly dose of sugar, it's probably really good. But I think as a show overall, it doesn't really have that much substance to it. So they have some really heartwarming moments though. Like I think the whole segment in episode 6 with the father was it kind of gut punched me. Came out of nowhere, like all this big softy. You knew it was. I mean, we all knew it was going to happen. We knew what the father was really thinking. He just wanted to protect her, but it was still kind of a cute little segment. Visually, it looks really good. I'm actually very impressed by how it looks. It's being done by Troika. There's like these moments where suddenly the animation just gets like really good. Like they have these little expressive moments where the character gets overly animated and like, oh crap, this actually looks really good out of nowhere. So they have these little points where the animators go a little bit ham on it, which I think is really cool. Anyways, that's my thoughts so far on Always a Catch. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as always. Hope you found it informative. If you did, hit the like button down below. Until next time, take care.